Hello, welcome to podcast 18. A bit of a lighter one this week. We've had a few heavy ones. It was a dark horse to me, really. It's Bill Ashurst, who is a former Great Britain and Wigan rugby player. But hello, Bill, by the way.
Good morning, nice to be here.
I never realised what a legend. I was never a sportsman, and I was always a fat kid at school with a sick note, and I never really did anything in sport. So obviously I've not followed rugby, but I didn't realise I've been looking up on you, and you're very much a legend in the world of rugby league and stuff, and an all-round athlete, and you was good at football, and obviously excelled at rugby and stuff like that. So you want to talk to us about how you started off on it? You know.
Yeah, well, because we're sat here in Rosebridge, I was born about half a mile up road here, and
Right, yeah.
it all began when I came to the school across the road, Rosebridge School.
You excelled at
I
school.
was 11 years old,
Yeah,
at school, and I was fortunate enough to play for all the rugby teams and everything. And when we had a match day, I was very fortunate as well. I never went to school till after dinner because I'd walk in and teacher said, "Where have you been, William?" And I said, "I've been resting for games, sir." So I'm thick now, rather than that I had to be a sportsman because I was a stick at everything else.
But was you upset? Was you once you found out? Well, have you always been obsessed with sports from being a young lad? Then it was an obsession.
Yeah, my last sportsman, my God, I'm 72 now, and I've been involved in rugby league itself for 60 years.
Really, yeah.
Playing and coaching young men and such as my son and other kids for 40 years after I retired.
But you're like a legend, though. You've really made a dent in rugby. You're still kind of revered now, can't you? You're still doing sportsman stuff and things like that. So
Yeah, it's extraordinary. I mean, like I said, a lad from Ensign, when you've got your own Wikipedia page, you must have been doing something right. Like,
no,
so
I mean I've
it
seen
nice
you.
to look up on it.
I mean, you live in Ice back a man, and I've seen you about for years, and I never realised what a like you said. You just think it's another chap, but you in the world of rugby, you're like, may I say it, a kind of a god kind of thing, or you know what I mean, in that kind of arena.
Well, it was always about on the pitch for me. What it happened, not off the pitch. You know what I mean? I'm a low key person. I'm a shy person.
Yeah.
And it was all about being the best.
Yeah.
And as soon as I put them boots on, your persona changes, your personality changes, and whatever it took to become the best, and that's what you did on the pitch then.
You're very driven. Very driven.
Very driven on that pitch, yeah.
Was it like almost like a performance in a way, like an actor is a different person before they go and take on the role? Like to you, the pitch was kind of your stage.
Oh yeah. I mean, people look at me and said, I've given them more entertainment the way I played.
Yeah.
And I was God blessed with the talent of what I had.
Yeah.
I mean, I never trained for rugby league. I hated. I was the most laziest bloke who never put a pair of boots on.
So just natural, your ability was just God given. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I could go on that pitch, and believe it or not, I didn't know what I was going to do next. It was so
just work through you, like something worked through, like you were just working, like you were following an order, if you will, that kind of thing.
Yeah, an order within myself.
Yeah.
I'd go and I'd get dressed earlier when I played for Wigan and whatever, and we had a big mirror in the dressing room, and all sport and all life's about positivity.
You're right.
And I always had that positivity of wanting to be number one.
Yeah.
Because I've always told my kids, I mean, unfortunately I had three young lads what played rugby league, but circumstances stopped them becoming professionals. They were all good enough. But I always had that positivity, that assurance that I wanted to be the number one. And I've always told my kids, if you don't want to be the best at what you do, don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anybody can be average.
Yeah.
But it takes someone special to be that top notch.
Yeah. And all this about smoking woodbines as well. You used to smoke when you was a player, didn't you?
Yeah, I started.
Was a lot of the back then? Did a lot of people smoke? A lot of the players and stuff.
Oh yeah. There wasn't. The funniest thing, we used to have a competition called John Player number 6 trophy.
Okay. Yeah.
And before we played every cup game, they'd leave 400 fags in the dressing room. John
Really?
Player.
Yeah.
So the three of us smoked, and we'd fight. You got there first, you get the free fags, like. But it's funny. I started smoking when I was 15. The day I left school, Jimmy, I broke my leg playing for Wigan schoolboys.
Right.
And they couldn't repair what they did without me being in. I was in hospital for 18 weeks.
Right.
And you could smoke in hospital then. And somebody in the next bed, a friend of mine from up Irish, got me smoking. And last year when I went back to Australia, we was invited to the grand final. And Radio 2 UE rang me during the grand final. And Paul Langmack said, "Nice, Bill, to see you back in Australia, blah, blah, blah. You've been here last 4 years, blah, blah. We've got a question from a listener. Did you smoke when you were playing?" I said, "Too sure I did before the game at half time and after the game." He said, "Well, what were you doing today's modern rugby, Bill?" He said, "They'd take you off for 10 minutes, put you on for 10 minutes. Well," and I said, "Not a problem, Paul." I said, "I'll buy a 20 packer instead of a 10.
Would you say it's was it a tougher game, rugby then
Oh,
than
yeah,
it is now? Is it less brutal now than it was?
Oh yeah, thank God it is, because like I said, they've got protection with nothing but cameras.
Yeah.
You can't do anything. But when we played, it was an evil game.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, always some idiot ran onto your elbow. I mean, ask Jim Mills or Frank Foster or Mike Nicholson or sometimes myself, you know what I mean? That's the way. It was a brutal game.
Yeah,
But it was a good game, a skillful game.
Yeah.
Far more skillful than it is today.
Do you think? Yeah. Well, I was just going to ask you that. Do you think the calibre of players then was a lot better than the NA kind of thing?
Skillful wise, yeah.
Yeah.
Fitness wise, no.
Yeah.
They are real athletes today.
Yeah.
But it's all structure. I've always said, looking at today's modern game, if you turn the sound off and the colour off, you wouldn't know which teams were playing, because they all play the same game.
Yeah.
But we had really skillful players, your Murphys, your Millwoods, your Ashtons, your Boston, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All skillful players,
Yeah.
your Nortons. And we played rugby league as it should be played. It's like our car crash today. It's dangerous. I mean, we had three yards to work in defensive, so you had to think on your feet. That's when the ball beat the player rather than the physique, the strength. And I love playing the game that I play.
You really will have to excuse me, not being a sporting man, and I don't know that much about rugby. I have looked up on you and stuff like that. But so what year did you sign for Wigan as a?
1968. I signed for Wigan in 1968. I was playing for Rosebridge old schoolboys.
Okay.
I was 17 and a half. And we played a team in Adlington. Close game, we beat them 134-0. And there was a scout from Wigan said, "Want to go for trials at Wigan?" So I had 2 trials at Wigan, middle of winter, December. And I played my second one at Central Park, Old Central Park. And they took me straight from the pitch, straight to the boardroom, and said, "We wanted you to sign for Wigan Rugby League Club." Well, I had no dad who could advise me, but I knew you got money if you signed. I'd just got married.
Right, yeah.
And I said, "What would he give me if I signed for Wigan?" They went to £1,000. Oh shit, my eyes went tic-tac-toe. I'm never grand. I said, "I'll sign." And then the chairman said, "But Bill, you're not getting it all at once." So I got £100 when I signed on. I got 400 after 12 first team games. I got 250 for playing for Lancashire and 250 playing for Great Britain. That was my contract. I got back to the dressing room. I couldn't have a bath, so I ran it all the way home where I lived, and I £300 to
You got too late, didn't you? You missed the bath, didn't you?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
kind of thing.
So I ran home up to Neckenmore and everything, and I walked in and £300 to Sheila. I said, "I'm a professional rugby league player." That was it, really. And I celebrated with the tin bath. We had the old tin bath, didn't we? Then we had one in front of the fire.
We had one kind of thing, but £400 then was what would that have been now? It's like that's a lot of money.
That was after 12 first team games. I bought my first house in Street with
it was a lot of money, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
How long was you at Wigan?
I did 5.5 years.
Yeah.
Originally, and then as we talked later on, I moved on from Wigan.
Yeah.
I went to Australia and then came back to Wigan, and then moved on from Wigan to Yorkshire with Lbry Whitecats.
Right. Someone said like you, because of your drinking and partying and stuff like that, you never fulfilled your full potential as a player. Am I wrong in thinking that kind of thing?
Jimmy, at my age, I love partying and drinking.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that kind of thing. But
well, all I can say, Jim, not being a big head or whatever, I don't want to have a head like Alex Murphy, but if I'd have been not drinking and partying, I'd have been some player, wouldn't I?
Well, this is it. You see, I mean, like I said, I don't know much about sports and all that, but people have said and I've read from what I've read, you're pretty up there. And I've even read see, I don't even know I'm that crap. I don't even know what the positions are in rugby, but somebody said you're one of the top 3 all time.
Second row forward, yeah.
Second row forward. See, I don't even know kind of thing. I'd be like back left upwards. I don't.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I'm not a clue. I was never a sporting man, but you're a very
and
interesting.
It happens that, Jimmy. Sometimes when I got an elbow from Jim Mills, I didn't know where I was playing.
Yeah. Do you incur a lot of injuries on the pitch?
I did, yeah. I've had 13 operations on my knee.
Really, yeah.
I've got a plastic cheekbone.
Really, yeah. You get smashed in, yeah.
Yeah, I lost my teeth and all that, yeah.
But you loved every minute of it.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't change a thing. Well, would you change anything in your career? I said, the only thing I'd change was when we played at Barra and I kicked for goal instead of touch. It cost us a game. So, yeah.
So after Wigan, you went to Australia.
Yeah, it was 1973. What had happened? We played. I'd broken my elbow in a couple of places. My son ran onto my elbow, as I've just said, they always did. And the coach asked me, was I fit for the Saturday game? And I said, not with a break. So I had to go and see the chairman, and the chairman asked me to have painkillers in me. I had painkillers in muscle injuries, but not in a break. And I said, I'm not playing. And he said to me, like, well, if I had my way, you wouldn't play for Wigan again. And I just went, well, that's your opinion. And my answer is, I'll never play for Wigan again.
Right. And
it was then, 5 weeks previous, we'd played Australia at Central Park.
Right.
And I had a wow of a game. I battered Australia that night, really did. And their coach, Mr. Bath, Harry Bath, he then recommended me to all clubs in Australia. And from that, I got a visit from 2 clubs from Australia.
Right. And how long was you over there for?
I was over there for just on 4 years. It was funny, really, that when I signed, I was on a world record transfer then. And I got a visit from 2 great players who were involved with Cronulla, coaching Cronulla Sharks, Tommy Bishop and Cliff Watson. They came to my house in Lbry Lane,
right,
and they said, will you come to Cronulla? So I said, well, what were you offering if we go? Because we was having a rough patch in our marriage as well. And they said, we can only give you $2,000, capping system, we'll get you a house and a job. So we had a chat, me and Sheila, and said we'd go and have a fresh start with us, the kids. So, well, 2 days later, I knock on the door, Penrith Panthers came to my house, calling Ward and Wello. And they said, will you come to Penrith? I said, I'm going to Cronulla. They said, well, they offered you. I said, well, they've offered me the house, job, and $2,000. So, well, they said, we can only give you the $2,000, but we know it's been lifted, we'll bump it up. I won't say on here to what amount it was. We'll get you the job, we'll get you the house, we'll get you the car, and make sure you have a swimming pool. So I looked straight at Sheila and I said, Sheila, I can't drive and I can't swim, but I know where I'm going. So I then went to Penrith.
So, what was it? Was you like a superstar over there?
I was, yeah.
Yeah. Like and in here as well, wouldn't you? Was you like
more so in Australia because it's a national game? It was like a George Best of Rugby League over there.
Right.
So you can imagine the temptations.
Well, yeah, I was going to say like with fame and all that kind of thing, the partying and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was different then. It was like a lot of segregation. It was men and women. It was like a marriage was like 2 single people. It was ridiculous. But I had the most wonderful wife that anyone could want, and she pulled me through it all.
Yeah.
I mean, my favourite song with my marriage would always be that "Win is my win."
Yeah. Bette Midler.
No, we've been together 54 years. So
that's very rare. It's very rare then, but it's rare now, isn't it? Kind of thing.
Oh yeah, but I wouldn't change her. I wouldn't. She's absolutely fantastic.
So what do you think the secret of a good marriage is? I mean, these days relationships, all people do is unfriend each other and block them off Facebook
Well,
and find somebody else, don't they? That nobody works at anything anymore, do they? Or they go straight on a dating site.
it's easy really, Jim. There's nothing I won't do for Sheila and nothing she won't do for me.
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
do nothing for each other, so that's how it works.
You've been together since kids at school? Were you been together a lot longer was you together?
No, I met Sheila when I was 16 in Monaco Ballroom in England.
Oh, Hindley, yeah. And,
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, I shouldn't have been drinking at 16, but obviously we did. And
people smoke fags at 12 and all.
yeah. Well, no, 15. But I was in Morocco this night, and situation in Morocco, they had an upper tier and a lower tier, and I'm stood at the upper tier, and I saw this young girl walked in, and she was gorgeous, man.
Yeah.
And I made a beeline. They were sat down the steps here, so I could listen to everything what was being said, and the police walked in, and I could hear her say to my friend, "Oh, if the police know I'm here, my mum will kill me, blah, blah, blah." So I shot down, and as the coppers were coming, I said, "You Frank?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, if you give me a kiss, they'll walk past," and that's how I met Sheila, so...
Yeah. That's mad, isn't it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I've never interviewed a rugby player before, Bill. I don't know much about rugby kind of thing. So I'm like in a plane gliding and I'm about to crash kind of thing. So you've met a few celebrities, haven't you, and you travelled in there?
Yeah, quite a lot. We've been involved in the game. We used to get invited to a lot of places, but two of the main ones that we used to knock about with. I mean, my heroes when I was growing up were Man United.
Yeah.
And when I was a young kid at 18, got in the first team, we had a Friday night game. We had Georgie Best, we had Bobby Charlton used to come and watch the games, and we'd mingle with Bestie and Georgie Charlton, and Nobby Styles used to come occasionally.
So George Best, the man,
he used to come and watch Wigan.
Who could he drink? Could he drink you, George Best?
I never got in a competition with him.
No.
They were great blokes. And then later on we got friendly with Sam Allardyce and Peter Reid and all them. We used to go to the Bolton games. And, but more so the two we knocked them out with it was Alan Price and Georgie Fame.
Right. Have you any stories of debauchery on the road? What you can tell, kind of thing?
Just really not one I can go public. A couple I can go public.
Yeah.
But one I can go public was we were chatting there earlier. I'd never heard of marijuana or cannabis or whatever. So they're on a gig in Woburn Abbey and stayed, put us up in this hotel. And famous Alan Price, he gave me this reefer. I didn't know what they were called. I have one of these bills. Oh man!
Was it the crumbly brown stuff kind of thing?
He rolled it, so I just smoked it. I mean, it was completely different to my Woodbine.
Yeah.
And I was a bit iffy when after, and then Fabi got up and he went, "Ash," he said, "Tattle me." So he's come flying at me, and I've hit him like full on, and we've gone smashed all these French windows, and he just got up laughing. Wouldn't feel any pain, obviously, but got up laughing, and he just told the manager to put it on his bill. But we had some great times.
Yeah. You wrote a book, didn't you?
Yeah, it's called Tries and Pros.
Can people still buy this book?
On Amazon, yeah.
It's on Amazon, yeah. But a few of my friends have read it, kind of thing. One of them's Gary Boardman, and we've got some questions now from people. Is that all right? We'll crack on with them?
Not a problem.
Actually, hello, Bordy. When you played in Australia, who was the hardest player you played with and against? And when I was about 15, I'm sure you trained us with a bloke called Elwyn for Rosebridge, or was I mistaken? And he read your book twice while he was in Ibiza. So he says, "Thank you, it was brilliant." So in the first part of the question,
there's that many, I apologise if I don't remember, but there's that many young men and boys I've trained during when I retired from playing. It's difficult to remember every name. I apologise if I don't remember the name, but yeah, mate, the book was fantastic. Coaching such as himself was fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got three young lads in the Wigan first team now that I trained at St Pat.
Yeah.
Oliver Gill. What was the second part of the question?
It's sure when he was about 15, you trained us with a bloke called Elwyn.
That would have been Elwyn Mulvey, yeah.
For Rosebridge. So
yeah.
As I was mistaken.
Yeah.
But You must have. I'm not a taxman or anything, but you must have done well out of it. So how come you just chose to live in Ince? Could you not have lived in anywhere in the world or Australia and stuff like that? Or did you love Ince?
No. We were like I said, we were in a bad situation in Australia. We were going to separate. I wanted to stay in Australia. She wanted to come home, and I wasn't coming back. I knew I'd got a TV contract ready for when I'd finished playing and all that, but...
Was that doing commentating and stuff like that? Or?
Yeah, just odd bits here and odd bits there, as I'm doing now, little bits. And what happened when she came home, if you remember, it was about 1978, there was a massive polio scare in this country then. And I was worried for the kids. We had 4 kids, and I asked Penrith for compassionate leave for a couple of weeks so I could come back and make sure everything was right, blah, blah, blah. They refused me. So I contemplated it and looked at it, and family's more important than rugby league, so I just jumped on a plane, came home and put my family first rather than Penrith Panthers.
So what happened then? Did they cancel your contract?
They put an embargo on, and every English player, they couldn't go over Australia for a while.
So were you blacklisted in Australia?
I was banned.
Did that reverberate over here to English rugby as well? Once you'd offended?
Yeah, so some of the lads would never forgive me for that at that particular time.
Yeah.
But, family came first, and that was that really, but they eventually sorted it out, and I signed back at Wigan. Was that
a low point was that a low point for you? Because rugby was obviously your passion and stuff, and it had been kind of stopped.
I loved rugby league. I mean, that was my life. I didn't know how to do anything else. Although I was out the game for about 6 months, and I used to train in my brother-in-law's shed on the weights, and I'd use the canal, but Wigan did good. I mean, they sold me for a world record 27 grand, and they bought me back for 6, I think.
Right.
So
how long did that? Was that the end of your career? When you did this polio scare and the Panthers?
It was in Penrith, yeah.
So you could still play rugby in England, though? It didn't matter.
I was banned from England until they'd
So did you resume playing after this ban?
After the ban, I resumed playing at Wigan.
Yeah.
But having done that, I mean, apparently at Penrith they just put my photograph on all the telephone book covers, and they got them all back and ripped it off and everything else. But again, does that tell you something, that I did that at Penrith, but yet again I was selected in the best ever Penrith team? I mean, normally they wouldn't entertain somebody like that, but I must have been a decent player to become a Penrich legend.
Without blowing smoke up your ass, I never realised I was living back to back with a legend kind of thing. You don't know really who you're living next to. You could be a rugby legend or a mass murderer, really. You don't know, but I
just love the game, man. I just love playing the game. I mean, people revere as a legend. People put you on pedestals, but I was just a lad from Ince who played rugby.
He's very driven and
very driven. But I loved the game. I'd play it 7 days a week.
What was your lowest point in your career? Was there a particular low point where, life is peaks and troughs?
Well, a couple of times. I mean, for example, the World Cup in France, when they won it in France in 1970. I was selected for that side, and the week before I did my ACL ligament. And then I was selected to tour, and the week before I did another ACL, so I missed out.
What is ACL? Sorry,
it's a ligament in the knee. Big operation.
Right.
For example, young Neil Marston's just on his now, and he'll be out for a full year. So they were very disappointing. Obviously, losing twice at Wembley is very disappointing.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, overall, the good outweighs the disappointing time.
Absolutely. So, what happened for you after rugby in your life? Did that leave a void when you finished playing and all that? What happened after rugby? When you retired? What age did you retire?
I finished playing when I was 34.
Okay.
And then I got into I was coaching Wigan with Alex Murphy. 1983 was I retired. Coached Wigan in 83. And then I coached Runcorn in 88. Funniest ever that Runcorn. It was unbelievable. I mean, I was used to being at Wigan and 16,000 people are on the terraces and we're waving to them. But when I went to Runcorn, there was 400 speckies on the pitch waving to us. I'd never seen anything like it. But pardon me, we did good. And then at the end of the season, we finished big, higher than they'd ever finished. And the chairman came to me and he said, "Bill, we have to let you go." I said, "But Mr. Chairman, we're winning. We're just off the top 4." He said, "That's the problem. We can't keep paying winning pay." So I was gone for being successful, and I fell out the game for a while. But then I got involved with coaching teams like Rosebridge, Wigan Open Age, my son at Hindley, and my son at St Jude's. And then amateur rugby league coaching just came from there.
Is 34 young to retire for a rugby player nowadays?
Yeah.
Was it not then? Was it different then?
It was different.
Is it just, or was it?
It was mainly injury.
Was your knees that bad that you couldn't play?
The last year, my career, I was playing with 3-4 painkiller injections in each knee.
Yeah.
And it just became too much.
I remember I did a gig with a rugby player called Mal Colker, sportsman, didn't years ago.
From St Parts.
I remember it was a rumman, I remember, and I remember him saying the game. A lot of the players are like propped up on tramadol and paying.
They might be today, not in my day.
No, never. But is that a problem with the game now? Do you think a lot of players because they're injured are popping?
If you went to if every club, every amateur club was tested, you would have no amateur rugby league.
Right.
It's rife, it's everywhere. I won't mention no name, but it's rife everywhere.
Yeah.
And you know, at the end of the day, I packed in because I couldn't cope with what was going on. It was so sad. And I mean, you know, it's involved. It's even in the program. Nobody will tell me any different. But the players, good luck to them. They're finding ways of not getting tested and being hidden. And
steroids.
Greatest player, one of the greatest I've ever seen, John.
Right.
John's in Australia. He was the greatest scrum half I ever played. But yet, when he's wrote his book, he couldn't play without drugs. He couldn't play with that. But the club found a way when the testers came. They hit him and blah blah blah. It happens, but
so,
at the end of the day, they've got to live with that, haven't they?
What is this? Is this steroids as well? There's there's steroids involved also.
There's everything.
Yeah, cocaine and stuff. It depends how much money they've got. They get a lot of money now, though, don't they? So they can kind of.
Yeah, I can only just afford Woodbines, mate.
Well, they didn't do. You know what? I mean, the smoking lobby, might not like this video because, like, end of the day, you achieved so much with Woodbines. So perhaps after all.
I was going to ask you, I don't want to upset him.
No, you said what you want here.
Do you have a break for a fag?
Yeah, do you want to smoke? Do you want a break now? You can have a break if you want.
Of course, mate.
Well, we're just going for a Woodbine. So we'll be back in a bit. There might be an advert or not, I don't know, but we'll see you shortly. Hello, welcome back to part 2. I'm joined by Bill Ashurst, former Great Britain and Wigan rugby player. Can you remember any legendary scuffles on the pitch? More than now. I mean, I know it was rough them days, wasn't it, kind of thing?
Well, I've been sent off 17 times.
Have you? Yeah. Well, what was the worst?
It was. I don't know what it was. That was part of the scenario of as I said before, of being the best, whatever it took.
Yeah.
And I was like, if they wanted to out-kick me, they wouldn't. If they wanted to out-fight me, they wouldn't. If they wanted to out-play me, they wouldn't. And every aspect of the game come in. And there was one funny story, right, that we played Widnes at Widnes. Okay. I mean, this guy, Jim Mills, his name is, he was sent off twice more than me. He's got a record, Jim, 19.
Okay.
There's only 2 behind him. Couldn't catch him up. And we played Widnes one night. My coach was Vince Corellius. And he said, Bill, he said, wind Jim up. So I've got the ball here and I'm seeing Jim coming from the right and I know what was coming. So was he got? I've headbutted him when I cut his eyes from it. Here. I was unconscious before he hit the floor, right? So I'm in the dressing room having 2 pencils straight in my nose. Jim's had a t-shirt printed, Big Jim is innocent. And Vince Corellius walked in, he said, Bill, what happened? I said, Vinny, I don't know, but you're chuffing wound him up yourself next time. I was chuffing, unbelievable. That was the game. It was whatever it took.
Yeah, yeah.
But we're so friendly, we're so close friends now.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it stayed on the pitch, he never took it off.
No.
Oh, you had a little black book, you waited for the next time we played them.
Do you think nowadays the players would have wars on Twitter if they fell out? They wouldn't. Do you think would they keep it personal? These days they're falling out on the internet, wouldn't they? As
I
well,
don't know. I mean, obviously we had no stuff on Twitter, no emails or all that garbage. We used to say it on the pitch.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I've lined up again with Great Britain with players, and then we're flattening each other a week after.
Yeah.
That's how it was. The epitome of my career was when I first got picked for Great Britain.
Yeah.
We were playing France in Toulouse, and Great Britain hadn't beat them for 7 years.
Right.
So I'm rooming with a lad from St Helens called Tony Corellius. So we have this plane, this propeller plane, flying from Manchester to Toulouse, and I'm sat with Tony. So the stewardess came round and she gives us a whiskey to calm his nerves because he was terrified. So we had a drink and she looked at us and she said, "If you want another drink, just press that button." So we said, "All right." So I'm turning around talking to Phil Lowe and blah blah blah, and I've turned back. And believe it or not, Tony has got his glass and he's got it up there and he's pressing this chuffing button right this time. You know, that's hooker. That's hooker, absolutely brilliant. But that day we played France and we beat them, the first team for 7 years in France. But there was Lancashire boys and Yorkshire boys. After the game, we all split up. The Lancashire lads went.
Was the battle? Was the battle?
Yorkshire lads went away. So we come back to the hotel, and we just achieved that what we'd done. And we sat in the room. The Lancashire boy, the Yorkshire boy comes in, and Phil Lowe's gone, "Ashurst, where's the kitty?" I said, "I've not got a kitty. Paul Charlton's got the kitty." He said, "You've got it." I said, "We've got no chuffing kitty. He's got it." So he pushes my chair and I fall over. So I've picked the chair up, threw it at him. The Lancashire lads have stood up and said, "We'll fight the lot of you now." That was after a Great Britain game. We played together and wanted to kill each other 5 hours later. It was extraordinary. It was a great game.
You sound like more rock and roll than any band. Like, you know what I mean? The antics you get up to as rugby players kind of thing.
Oh, we've had some good times. I remember, I won't mention names, I won't, because the lad who I'm talking about passed away, but we played Saints at Saints one day, and I've used my elbows and my head. I've never kicked anybody. Never used my feet.
No.
And this guy came and kicked me in the chin, in the jaw. Cracked my jaw, and I didn't want to go off. I just wanted to kill him. So after the game, I said to him, after the game. So we played at St Helens, and we ran down the tunnel, and I've collared him at the end of the tunnel, and I'm knocking 7 bells out of him.
With the cracked jaw, you had a cracked jaw as well?
Yeah. And his brother just walked past laughing. He played for the same team. And I just said, "Get in that bath, I'll drown you, I'll kill you." So it's a big communal bath. It was below zero when I got out of that bath, and he never got in that bath. So we're sneaked off, I don't know, but I never got him back.
Just people though now, the calibre of people. You just said you just played a game with a cracked jaw and then battered somebody after with a cracked jaw. And people now need safe spaces if somebody calls them a name. They have to stop in a little room if somebody... How society was, but... It sounds like I'm getting older, but there was a better calibre of people then, you know what I mean? But now everybody just... You couldn't get that now, I don't think, could you? People playing with cracked jaws and things like that.
I grew up with a society as when you're in a pub and two men are arguing, let's go and sort it, we'll go outside and knock bells out of each other and come and buy each other a pint after.
It's not like
That's
that.
all knives and daggers and everything else.
It's
I fear for my kids, the world's crazy.
It's just gone daft, hasn't it, really?
Yeah.
But, spirituality plays a big part in your life now, doesn't it? Am I right in thinking that?
Yeah, I became a Christian in 1988.
What was the incident? What was the events leading up to you finding Christianity as a spirituality?
Well,
if you can say it.
It wasn't much through me. It was my wife, Sheila. She'd been a Jehovah's Witness for 8 years. I wasn't Jehovah's Witness. I didn't see no. But she was into that. She was baptised as a Catholic, baptised as Jehovah's. My wife's cleaner than anyone about She's been dipped that many times. And what happened? She got pregnant with my daughter. Well, we didn't know she was a daughter then.
Okay.
She was pregnant with our 6th child, and she nearly got knocked down, and started losing the baby, started hemorrhaging. And we took her to Billings, which was the maternity hospital then, and they told her, one, she wouldn't keep the baby, she's losing too much blood. Two, it was only an 8-week fetus to a 17-week pregnancy, and they couldn't hear a heartbeat. So I remember Sheila saying her prayer that day. The prayer was herself was, Lord Jehovah, if you save this baby, I'll come to know you and your son Jesus. Well, within 2 days, she'd stopped bleeding. They took her for a scan. The fetus had doubled to 16 weeks with a strong heartbeat. Now, my young daughter's got 2 kids of her own, and she's now Christian. So Sheila started searching from then. I didn't. Yeah. I wasn't interested.
So you still at that point you weren't interested?
No. Then Sheila eventually got pregnant with our 7th child, our Andrew, which is who is sat here.
Hello, Andrew.
We're glad. Who, like I said, who could have made it when he was younger, but he got a bad illness with his knees.
Okay.
And she was having hormone injections, and Jehovah's Witness came, and she couldn't put the watchtowers on the doors, right? She was too poorly.
Right.
So he came, this guy, and he said, why are you the only one in my group what's not got so many points? And I thought, am I listening right here? He's supposed to be a man of God, so I threw him out of the house.
Yeah.
But the persistent, he came back with somebody older than him.
Yeah.
And he left quick. But it was from then that, with the injections, she got introduced to a wonderful nurse what came and gave her injections, and she introduced you to the true word of God.
So is that when you got it? Is that when you...
No.
So what point did...
Well, she started going to church with Mary, and they asked me along, and I went to the churches, they all one at schools, you know, the Salvation Army now, Pentecostal church, and I went, and I thought they were crazy, man. I thought they was absolute lunatics.
Is that singing? Is this like praise the Lord?
Yeah. I called it bedrock, because all I could hear was yabba dabba dabba doo ba doo ba doo. I thought, these men are nutters, these. And when the pastor got up and went, well, we'll take the word of God now, and we'll take your collection, I thought, I don't want to know your God, and you know, there might be money, I want to part this afternoon. So anyway, I used to go outside and wait for Sheila. Well, this particular morning, 27th of November 1988, I'll never forget it. I go outside, it's pouring down, cats and dogs. Look in my pocket, I forgot my things and my lighter. I sit at back, I'm not getting wet. So I sat at back, and the first time I'd ever heard a proper preacher, and it's the first time I'd ever heard, Jimmy, believe you me, it is the most wonderful love story anybody could hear.
Okay.
How Jesus came, suffered and died for me, and
I
found myself heartbroken, crying. I was sat next to Sheila, and that night, that morning, we both asked Jesus into our life and we became Christians.
How did that change your life? Or did your life change?
I didn't realise I was changing.
Yeah.
But Jesus changed me because I was coaching Runcorn at the time.
Yeah.
And I told all the lads, and they just taking the mickey. They were taking mickey and all that, But then eventually they were saying, you're changing, aren't you? You're not swearing like you did now. You're not doing this now, what you're doing now. I said, I don't know. I'm just happy at what I am and what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that's how it began for me. But at that particular time, 2 weeks I'd become a Christian. I'd let people know. And then we drew Wigan in a John Player trophy.
Oh, you were still playing when you was a Christian?
No,
I
was
was a coach.
I was 45.
Sorry,
I'm the coach. So we drew Wigan in a John Player trophy. So the players went on strike because they didn't think they was getting enough money. 150 quid they were getting, win, lose or draw. So they weren't happy. So one of the directors brought an amateur team in to play Wigan at Central Park with Gregory, Angley, Goodway, the team. So I thought, I put myself and the assistant coach on the bench, we'll get 150 quid, right? So I've gone on the pitch, 18,000 speckles up, we're getting a great ovation, sat on the bench. I thought, I'll go and have 5 minutes. We're losing after 14 minutes, 50 points. I said, I'll go and have 5 minutes. Well, I've gone on for 5 minutes and I've got an elbow in the cheekbone. So the first person near me was Andy Goodray, so I headbutted Andy Goodray. But I've got sent off. That's the first time in my life I've got sent off crying.
Right.
Because, not rugby league, I'd let God down. I'd let everybody down.
Right.
So I waited for Andy and blah, blah, blah. But again, this is how things change in your life. The day after, I had Grail reports, BBC, my house back to you.
Oh, yeah.
Possibly to take the mickey, you're a Christian, why did you do this and do
yeah,
that?
Yeah.
But from that terrible situation, it was completely turned around because I could stand up and say, I am a Christian. And from that, I was all over the country giving my testimony of what I was an idiot before and how you can live your life after. So,
I was talking last week with a spiritual fella called Keith Robinson. Hello, Keith, if you're watching this. And he said the good things in your life kind of they don't always lead to good consequences, and the bad things also don't lead to bad consequences. Like things can change, like you just said then about that.
Yeah.
But that's a good example of it. We're a question here from a lad called Roger King. Hello, Roger. And
hey, Roger.
He's a big fan of yours. He's read your book and all that. Bill, you came and spoke to my RE class in Lancaster in 1999. I really wanted to make it as a goalkeeper. At the same, sadly, I didn't have the talent, so I ended up going to university instead. Your speech always stuck with me, especially the part about your first training session in Australia. You thought the session had ended, but it was only the warm-up. Unfortunately, I recently suffered a relationship breakdown and I've developed a lot of negative thoughts and behaviour, namely promiscuity and excessive drinking. That's Campari's on and mucky women. Could you offer any advice on how to eliminate negative thoughts and be more positive? It's a lot of big ask this, but how did you stay positive to perform to a high level in rugby and life? P.S. Thank you for the speech you gave to my class.
Well, all I can say, what I used to do, the positivity always outweighed the negativity, because at the end of the day, there's only you yourself. Look, stick that song on Michael Jackson. I love it. I tell all my kids.
He's a big fan of Michael Jackson.
It's called Man in the Mirror. Man in the Mirror. And at the end of the day, what it's all about is, I could go through my life with coaches who tell me to do this, tell me to do that, and do that and other. I had positive and negative thoughts. But at the end of the day, it's when you look in that mirror, and what does that tell you back? What does it tell you? It can tell you to get rid of the negativity. Life goes on. And with Christ in my life, he doesn't let me go through with them by myself. He comes through them with me. There's always bad times and good times, but you've got to have now and again the bad time to appreciate the good times. Get in the mirror, get that positivity, and the negativity will just fly away. But if you haven't accepted Christ, accept Jesus in your life and let him bring you through everything, mate, because life can be so wonderful. It's had its ups and downs, mate. There's no perfect Christians. None. But we have somebody who'll come through with us and help us. But like I said, as a human, look in the mirror, get that positivity back, mate, and just kick that negativity up the arse, mate, because you can do it. Be strong. That's all I can give you.
There you go, Roger. If you don't do anything now, you never will. That's good words from Bill. With Christianity, do you feel like you're never alone now? With the connection to Christianity and God, do you whatever you go through in life, do you feel like you're never going through it alone? You've always got like somebody watching your back.
Yeah, never alone, Jim, because the Word of God is a fantastic thing, and he advises you and tells you everything. And I have one particular thing, what's my favourite, it's Psalm 121, and the psalm is, where do I go for my help? My help comes from the Lord.
Right.
Who suffers, who will be with me night and day, neither slumbers nor sleep. So God telling me he's with me 24/7.
Yeah.
There's times that we want things in our time, but it doesn't work, it's God's time.
Yeah.
Eventually he will do what he promises.
Some things aren't meant for us, are they? Like, a lot of people got, like if I said, I woke up tomorrow and said I want to be the next Billy Ashurst, it's not going to happen in a month of Sundays, you know what I mean? But
no.
Things are meant for us, and things are, and perhaps that's for a reason, because if we got those things, they'd either be harmful to us or they would do us no kind of good.
Yeah, I mean, times have changed. I mean, I remember going to school, when you were going to school, we used to go to church, Ash Wednesday or whatever, and we used to have a scam, by the way, Ash Wednesday. We wasn't a kid, didn't know God then. We used to get took to Inch Parish Church, and they used to come round with a big collection plate. So me and my mate used to have a piece of chewing gum, so we'd get a penny off rather than for a penny.
Right.
But God's forgiven me for that, but that was by the way I was only kids. But at the end of the day, mate, God's good. God's always good.
Do you think that religion is being downplayed nowadays, and I don't know about the media and whatever as not cool, or do you think if that we're living in, for me, it seems we live in a darker age where all the music is darker than its content. Like, a lot of the music videos the kids are listening to, the videos like porn videos, you know, the women in bikinis and things. The films seem darker.
Yeah.
Do you think? I mean, without getting too biblical, you know, do you think with what's all going on in the world now is playing out as it's been foretold kind of thing?
I think it's a facade of false promises what they're preaching, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, 90% of the preaching now is prosperity.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you know, when Matthew was up the tree and he said, "Who will follow you?" He said, "Give up everything and follow me. I'll not promise you a new car and an aeroplane and all this." But how many pastors have got aeroplanes? How many people are still poor and yet they want the money for they get the aeroplanes and the cars and everything?
Well, what particular branch of Christianity? He says it's not Jehovah's Witness you follow. What is it? Is it are you Pentecostal?
I got saved in Pentecostal, but I follow the word of God.
Are you born again?
There's no name to it.
Is it not? All right. So you do you go to a church or do you practice your own branch of
I
Christianity?
occasionally go to a church.
But
I'm not 100% church goer because I'm not a Sunday morning Christian. I'm a 7-day-a-week Christian.
Yeah. I get
I mean,
that.
God said in His Word that I know more existing man-made buildings. I write the words on your hearts and in your mind.
Yeah.
We're the church, not the bricks and mortar.
Yes, it's like I said, it's 24/7, and it's not
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's not like go and sleep behind your house back
Yeah,
and
it's like
get
the old-
drunk all week.
yeah,
Get good church
it's
on
like
the
the old story where the guy gave his life to Christ on a Sunday morning, and he's working in the office on a Monday morning. And he has to knock on the door and come in. So he comes in. He said, "Bloke said, come with me." He said, "I'm with you. Who are you?" I said, "I'm Jesus." He said, "Come on." He said, "I can't come with you." He said, "Look at all my work here." He said, "I get paid for this." He said, "I can't come with you." He said, "Come on, come with me." He said, "I can't." He said, "But yesterday morning he said you'd follow me." He said, "I'm so busy I can't do that, blah, blah, blah." Look at it Monday morning. And as Jesus is walking out, he said, "Excuse me." He said, "What?" He said, "Will you be in church next Sunday morning?" And that's what it's all about, you know what I mean? It's a prosperity. Young bloke promised him prosperity. Weeks and weeks and weeks he's cracking to God, "Let me win lottery, let me win lottery."
Yeah.
And there he come, mate. End of the day, God spoke to him. He said, "What is it, Lord?" He said, "Meet me halfway." He said, "Buy a ticket."
Well, that
You know what I mean?
burn a mind job. But
Well,
a lot of people are praying for the wrong things, aren't they?
Yeah.
Or just desiring the wrong things. Either like, you know, women, cars, money, fame, and all that. And I think it's never been worse than it is now, because now, once to be famous, you had to have a talent, or you had to have an ability. Now people are on shows like Love Island and Big Brother and whatnot, and they're just famous for the sake of being famous, kind of thing. And all kids are buying into that, and they kind of want that lifestyle, but it's vacuous and empty, in it, kind of thing, you know.
if I can get up every morning, Jimmy, and be there for help anybody who needs my help, then that's what it's all about.
We're getting deep here, but so what do you think the meaning of life is? What do you think we're here for? If I can ask you that.
Well, personally, I mean, it might sound ridiculous to you, but I used to be a gambler, blah, 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 big gambler, but now, at the end of the day, life is play the hand that God deals you.
Yeah. Playing it well and not just throwing. If you don't get the cards you want, just throwing them on the table and say, "I'll go and sit in Harry's bar all day and drink it away." A lot of folk do that, don't they? I mean, we you know, we all go through things in our life. I mean, one of the biggest things a lad can go through, or any child, is losing the parents, kind of thing. And some people never get over that. And there's many people sat at pub from 9 o'clock till shutting time who've never got over losing the parents, and that's kind of
I can't answer any of that, me, mate.
No.
I don't question. There's a lot in God's word I don't question.
Yeah.
That's between him and whatever. But at the end of the day, all that I know is that what he did for me, Berocious.
Yeah. So you can't really fault that, can you? You know. You were talking earlier before we went on air. Before Colin press record, since he's honest, really. We're not on air, are we? We were talking. You go to apart from this year, you go to Australia once a year and you're involved in a charity.
Yeah.
So can we talk more about that?
Yeah, it all started in 2013. I'd been over in 2006 for the Legends team.
Okay.
I'd become a Penrith legend. And
Did you play on that? Did you all get on the pitch and play on this Legends thing?
no,
Or was
it
tour?
is. They've been going 70 years,
Okay,
and they
alright.
selected the greatest ever Penrith team.
Oh, and you're on it.
And I'm in the second row.
Fair play.
They flew me to Australia for a big, fantastic night. And again, this is where God came into it. I left in them circumstances, as I told you.
Yeah.
Out, and I'd been praying for 20 odd years to go back and say sorry. So the ideal thing was when they asked me to go for the Legends, I knew it was the way God got me back. So as I'm getting my trophy, I was becoming second row forward at Penrith, the greatest team.
Right.
I want to make a speech. I said, first of all, I want to thank God for letting me come back, and I just want to say sorry for what I did in 1977. I apologise.
Well, did you say that on the microphone in front of people?
In front of 3,000 people.
Right.
Yeah. And somebody shouted, we paid for you. And I went, but God got me here. So at the end of the day, I apologise. But the walk started then in 2013. I've met friends in that.
So this is a charity walk.
Yeah, it's a walk. We walked from a place called Bathurst to which was one of the first Pombeii prisons in Australia.
Okay.
Bathurst. So we walked from Bathurst to Penrith, which is 400k. But the boys who do the walk, they've got to raise $10,000 each, but they're all millionaires, all very wealthy people. So then we have donations, they have dinners, and I drive a car.
Yeah.
And I give the boys drinks and food every 3-4 kilometres. They walk about 30-40 kilometres a day, and then we go back to the hotel, stay in hotels. But during the night we have fundraisers, so I get to do some after dinner speaking with people like Mark Geyer. I've done McGrath, the cricketer.
Okay.
I've done Richards, the cricketer. Roy Simmons plays for Penrith. So we have a night each night raising money as well.
Right.
So it's the night time's the best. They walk at day, and then it's just eat, drink, and be merry at night time.
Would you never consider moving to Australia? Has that never been?
No, I've got all my family over here. I've got my 7 kids. I've got 28 grandkids and 9 great grandkids. So,
There's a lot of folk take over there, isn't it? Really? Are you still revered in Australia as more than here? Would you say more than here?
Yeah. The only biggest disappointment I've ever had in my career is at Wigan.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. I mean, I went to Australia in a world record transfer for Wigan. I went to Wakefield in a British record transfer for Wigan. I did what I did at Wigan, and I just cannot get in the Wigan Hall of Fame. I'm in the one at Wakefield, I'm in the one at Penrith, but I just can't. I don't know why I can't get in the Wigan.
Is that a political thing? You think?
It's just very disappointing.
Yeah.
No, it's very disappointing.
I think people who are watching this, even rugby fans, should start a Facebook campaign to get Bill in the Wigan Hall of Fame. You know, a bit of pressure.
It's not a big head. It's just when you
deserve
achieve
it.
for your own. Your ideology, your wish is to play for your own town, and to achieve what you did for your own town, and then end of the day.
End of the day, the tail of the tape, as they say. You've achieved so much. Now I want a statue of myself outside the Laugh Centre, but I'm just mentally ill with narcissistic tendencies. But you actually have achieved a hell of a lot of stuff, kind of thing, like, you know what I mean? And really, if anybody from Wigan Council, there should be a statue of Bill outside the Laugh Centre, next to Billy Boston's one. And who was Billy Boston one? See, he was
my hero growing
I'm
up.
probably going to get trolled me off loads of rugby people telling me to get a job and learn about rugby and stuff like that. But so Billy Boston was your idol as a player, kind of thing.
Yeah,
growing
up, yeah.
Was he a fantastic player?
Yeah. When I was 11 years old, I started watching Wigan and Billy B. It's surreal, really. When I signed for Wigan, Billy retired that year.
Right.
And I've watched him all my life from growing up. Billy this, Billy that, Billy that. And anyway, he had a testimonial game.
Okay.
And he said to me, young one, he said, will you play a centre to me in my testimonial game? I thought, wow, man, this is
What was that like, meeting your idol? Was you a bit starstruck?
Oh yeah. So he asked me to play centre to him. So he had his testimonial game at Central Park on the Friday night. I'm his centre. Eric Ashton was my, but he was normally I'm his centre. And I thought, shit, so I've got to pass, right? And I thought, I'm passing a ball to my hero, my all-time hero. Whoa, and I passed it, and he chuffing dropped it. I couldn't believe it.
was you just nervous?
I
Right?
said, you chuffing dropped it, Billy.
Oh, he dropped it then, yeah.
But what a man, what a player. He's
Yeah.
pure in there. God bless you, Billy.
Well, what be better? I actually know Nick Lack and Chris Lack. Are they his nephews?
His nephews, yeah.
I don't know if they watch this, but hello, the Lack. They're not twins, are they? I don't know what I'm on about. They've had too much coffee. Hello to the Lacks, anyway, if you're watching this. Somebody's got to be watching it. Well, not yet. It's not even been put online yet. I don't know what I'm on about, Bill. I'm not right, but it all goes towards my medical when I go on the sick. But I thank you very much for coming down and chatting to me.
No problem.
You know, I really appreciate it. Have you any website links or anything?
No.
You normally put Facebook and all that under, so you're not bothered.
No.
Well, if you want to get in touch with Bill, you know, get in touch with us, kind of thing, and we'll pass on your regards or any money you have for him or whatever you have for him. But thank you very much, Mr. Bill, for coming down and enlightening us on rugby. Thank you very much, and see you soon.
Can I just say one thing before I go?
Yes, you can. So what you
If
like?
you put it on its end to you, all I just want to say is, we're all created equal, all lives matter.
I agree with that. Well, we can. Yeah, I agree with that. What he said, and also Roger King, stop drinking Campari and mauling about with nasty women and turn your life around. Or Bill will come round and give you a good harding, even though you live in Spain. Thanks very much.
Thank you.